Millionaire marries a single mother as a prank. What she did on their wedding night shocked him. Richard Blackwood stands frozen in his penthouse bedroom, staring at the divorce papers his new wife just handed him. The single mother he married as a joke 12 hours ago is about to cost him everything he's ever built. 3 weeks earlier, billionaire CEO Richard Blackwood sits in his corner office at Blackwood Enterprises, the tech empire he built from nothing. At 34, he's worth $4 billion, but his reputation among Manhattan's elite has taken a hit after his public humiliation by supermodel Cassandra Vail. "You're a laughingstock, Richard," his business partner Trevor Mitchell sneers during their monthly board meeting. "Cassandra made you look like a desperate fool in front of the entire city." Richard's jaw tightens. The breakup was brutal. Cassandra announced on social media that she was leaving him for a younger, more attractive hedge fund manager. The tabloids had a field day. "Women are all the same," Richard mutters. "They only care about money and status." "Prove it," Trevor challenges. "I bet you can't make any random woman fall in love with you and marry you within 3 weeks." The other executives lean forward. CFO Amanda Ross adds, "If you can pull this off with someone completely ordinary, a single mother, a waitress, someone desperate, we'll approve your expansion into Asia. But if you fail, you step down as CEO." Richard's empire depends on the Asian expansion. His pride demands he accept the challenge. "Fine, but not just any woman. I want someone who has nothing, someone who would never normally be in my league." Trevor smirks. "Deal. But she has to be a single mother, someone with real responsibilities, real problems. Make her believe you're her Prince Charming." The target. The next morning, Richard drives his Ferrari to Queens, looking for the perfect victim. He needs someone vulnerable, someone who would be grateful for his attention. At a small community center, he spots her. Lisa Chen struggles to carry boxes of donated clothes, while her 5-year-old daughter Maya plays nearby. Lisa's black hair is pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her clothes are clean but obviously secondhand. She's beautiful in a natural way, but exhaustion shadows her eyes. Richard watches as Lisa organizes the donation drive with military precision. She's clearly intelligent, responsible, and devoted to her daughter. Perfect bait for his trap. He approaches casually. "Excuse me, are you in charge here?" Lisa looks up, immediately wary. "Can I help you?" "I'm Richard. I run a tech company, and I'm looking for worthy causes to support. This place seems incredible." "It is." Lisa's tone remains cautious. "We serve over 200 families in this neighborhood. I'd like to make a donation." Richard pulls out his checkbook. "How does 50,000 sound?" Lisa's eyes widen. 50,000? Are you serious?" Money isn't everything, but it can make a real difference in people's lives. Richard writes the check with a flourish. "I believe in supporting strong women who care about their communities." Lisa stares at the check. Thank you. This will help so many people. Maybe we could discuss it over coffee? I'd love to hear more about your work here." Lisa glances at Maya, who's building a tower with blocks. "I don't usually." "Bring your daughter. I'd love to meet her." Something in Richard's tone seems genuine. Lisa makes a decision she'll soon regret. "Okay, but somewhere family-friendly." Over the next week, Richard executes his plan perfectly. He takes Lisa and Maya to child-friendly restaurants, parks, and museums. He listens to Lisa's stories about working 2 jobs to support her daughter, about Maya's father who abandoned them, about her dreams of finishing her nursing degree. He tells carefully crafted lies about his own humble beginnings, about wanting to use his wealth to help others, about being lonely despite his success. "You're different from what I expected," Lisa admits during their 4th date, while Maya plays on the playground nearby. "What did you expect?" "Rich men are usually..." She searches for words. "Entitled. Like they think their money makes them better than everyone else." Richard takes her hand. "Money is just a tool. What matters is how you use it." Maya runs over, out of breath from playing. "Mommy, can Richard push me on the swings?" "If he wants to," Lisa says carefully. Richard has never interacted with children, but he forces himself to smile. "I'd love to." For the next hour, he pushes Maya on the swings. helps her across the monkey bars, and listens to her chatter about kindergarten. It's exhausting, but Lisa's face glows with happiness watching them together. "Thank you," she tells him later. "Maya's father never did things like this with her." "His loss," Richard says, meaning it more than he expected. After 2 weeks of courtship, Richard knows he has Lisa hooked. She trusts him, believes in him, and Maya has started calling him almost daddy. He proposes at the community center where they met, in front of all the families Lisa serves. He's calculated this perfectly. She can't refuse without disappointing everyone who's rooting for her happiness. "Lisa Chun," he says, dropping to one knee with a ring that costs more than most people's cars. "You've shown me what real love looks like. You and Maya have given my life meaning. Will you marry me?" Lisa gasps. The crowd of families holds its breath. "Richard, we've only known each other 2 weeks." "I've never been more sure of anything." Richard lies smoothly. "I love you both. I want to be Maya's father. I want us to be a family." Lisa looks at Maya, who's clapping excitedly. She looks at the faces of her neighbors, all hoping for a fairy tale ending. "Yes," she whispers. The crowd erupts in celebration. Richard slides the ring onto her finger, and Maya throws her arms around both of them. Behind his smile, Richard feels only satisfaction. The board will approve the Asian expansion, and he'll be rid of Lisa within a month. Richard insists on a quick ceremony at City Hall, claiming he can't wait to make Lisa his wife. In reality, he wants to complete the bet before his feelings complicate things further. The wedding is small, just Maya as flower girl, Lisa's best friend Sarah as maid of honor, and Richard's assistant as witness. Richard's elite friends aren't invited. He tells Lisa they're all out of town. Lisa wears a simple white dress she bought on sale. Maya wears a pink dress that makes her beam with joy. Richard wears a suit that costs more than Lisa's annual salary. "Do you, Richard Blackwood, take Lisa Chun to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do," Richard says, looking into Lisa's trusting eyes. "Do you, Lisa Chun, take Richard Blackwood to be your lawfully wedded husband?" "I do," Lisa says, tears of joy streaming down her face. They exchange rings. Richard kisses his new wife, while Maya cheers. After the ceremony, Richard takes them to an expensive restaurant. Maya is fascinated by the fancy surroundings, asking questions about everything. Lisa is quiet, overwhelmed by the sudden change in her circumstances. "Are you okay?" Richard asks. "It's just, this morning I was a single mother working 2 jobs. Now I'm married to a billionaire. It doesn't feel real." "It's real," Richard says, taking her hand. "You're my wife now. You and Maya are my family." Lisa smiles, but something flickers in her eyes. Doubt, fear. Richard dismisses it. Phase 1 is complete. Back at Richard's penthouse, Maya is asleep in what is now her new bedroom. Richard has spared no expense. Princess bed, toys, books, everything a 5-year-old could want. Lisa stands at the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the Manhattan skyline. She's changed into simple pajamas, looking small and lost in the enormous apartment. "Are you happy?" Richard asks, approaching her from behind. "I should be," Lisa says without turning around. "This is every single mother's dream, right? Rich husband, beautiful home, security for my daughter." But Lisa turns to face him. But something feels wrong. This is all happening too fast. Richard's chest tightens. "What do you mean?" "I mean, you're a billionaire CEO. You could have anyone. Why would you choose a single mother from Queens? Why would you marry me after 2 weeks?" "Because I love you." Lisa studies his face. "Do you? Or do you love the idea of me?" "I don't understand." "I think you do." Lisa walks to the kitchen island and picks up a manila envelope. "I had some time to think while Maya was getting ready for bed, and I realized I never actually investigated the man I just married." Richard's blood runs cold. "What's that?" "Background check. Financial records. News articles." Lisa opens the envelope and pulls out a stack of papers. Very interesting reading. "Lisa, I can explain." Can you explain why you've been photographed with a different supermodel every month for the past 5 years? Can you explain why Forbes magazine called you Manhattan's most eligible bachelor last month? Can you explain why a man who's never shown interest in charity work suddenly appeared at my community center? Richard's carefully constructed facade begins to crumble. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Lisa's voice is calm, but her eyes are blazing. You made a bet, probably with your board members or your rich friends. See if you can make the poor single mother fall in love with you and marry you. That's not. How much money was involved, Richard? How much was my heart worth? Richard stares at her, trapped by his own lies. It wasn't about money. Then what was it about? Proving a point. That love is just another transaction. That anyone can be bought with enough money and charm. Lisa nods slowly. And Maya, what was she to you? Just part of the package. I never meant for Maya to get hurt. But you didn't care if she did, as long as you won your bet. Richard looks at his feet. I'm sorry. Sorry for what you did, or sorry you got caught. When Richard doesn't answer, Lisa walks to the living room and sits on the couch. Sit down, Richard. We need to talk. Richard sits across from Lisa, expecting tears, anger, a broken woman begging for explanations. Instead, Lisa seems unnaturally calm. I want to tell you a story, Lisa begins, about a young woman who got pregnant at 22. The father disappeared when he found out. Her parents disowned her. She was alone, scared, and broke. Richard shifts uncomfortably. Lisa, let me finish. This young woman had to drop out of college. She worked minimum wage jobs to support her baby. She lived in a tiny apartment, shopped at thrift stores, counted every penny. I know your story. No, you don't. You know the story I told you. The story I wanted you to believe. Lisa leans forward. The truth is more complicated. Richard's stomach drops. What truth? The truth is that the young woman's parents didn't disown her. They're Robert and Helen Chun, who own Chun Industries. Ever heard of it? Richard's face goes white. Chun Industries is one of the largest manufacturing companies in Asia. That's impossible. Is it? Did you ever wonder why I speak 3 languages fluently? Why I can organize a community center like a military operation? Why I was so comfortable in that expensive restaurant tonight? You're lying. Lisa pulls out her phone and shows him a photo. It's her with an older Asian couple at what looks like a corporate event. My parents. Taken last Christmas. Richard stares at the photo. If your parents are billionaires, why are you living in Queens? Why are you working 2 jobs? Because I chose to. When I got pregnant, my parents wanted me to give up the baby and marry someone they approved of. I refused. I left home with nothing, determined to make it on my own. But the community center, the donations, are funded by a trust once set up. I've been supporting that community for 3 years. I work there because I believe in the cause, not because I need the money. Richard's world tilts. You've been lying to me this entire time. I've been protecting myself. Do you know how many men have tried to get close to me for my family's money? Do you know how many fake relationships I've endured? So you decided to trick me? Lisa laughs, but there's no humor in it. Trick you? Richard, you walked into my life planning to manipulate me into marriage as a joke. You used my daughter as a prop in your cruel game. And you think I'm the one who's been dishonest. Richard stands up, pacing the room. None of this makes sense. If you knew what I was doing, why did you marry me? Because I wanted to see how far you'd go. I wanted to understand what kind of man would use a child for entertainment. Lisa's voice hardens. I wanted to look into your eyes and see if there was anything redeemable in you. And there isn't. Richard stops pacing. What do you want? I want you to feel what I felt. The fear, the vulnerability, the humiliation of being someone's joke. Lisa walks to the kitchen and returns with a thick folder. These are the divorce papers. I'm taking half of everything you own. You can't. I can. We're married, Richard. In New York State, I'm entitled to half your assets. Your penthouse, your companies, your stocks, your art collection. All of it. Richard's knees buckle. You're destroying me. I'm giving you exactly what you deserve. You wanted to prove that love is a transaction. Congratulations. You just made the most expensive purchase of your life. The prenup. What prenup? You were in such a hurry to complete your bet that you never had me sign one. Rookie mistake for a billionaire. Richard sinks into a chair. My company will survive. Under new management. I'm very good at running businesses, Richard. I learned from the best. This is insane. You can't just take everything. I'm not taking everything. I'm taking half, which, coincidentally, is exactly what you were planning to do to me emotionally. Richard looks around his penthouse, seeing it with new eyes. Tomorrow, half of it will belong to Lisa. Half of his empire will be hers to control. What about Maya? He asks quietly. What about her? She thinks I'm her father now. She'll be heartbroken when we divorce. Lisa's expression softens slightly. Maya will be fine. She's stronger than you think. And she'll learn an important lesson about people who make promises they don't intend to keep. I never wanted to hurt her. But you were willing to. That's the difference between us, Richard. I would never use a child as a weapon. Richard looks at Maya's closed bedroom door. Can I say goodbye to her? No. You'll be gone before she wakes up. She'll never have to see you again. She'll ask questions. And I'll tell her the truth. That sometimes adults make mistakes. That her real father is out there somewhere, and maybe someday she'll find him. Richard feels something crack inside his chest. I could have been good to her. Could you? Or would you have gotten bored and moved on to the next game? Richard doesn't answer because he doesn't know. Lisa hands Richard the divorce papers. Sign these now, and the divorce will be finalized within 30 days. Refuse, and I'll drag this out for years, while I control half your assets. Richard stares at the papers. You've thought of everything. I've had 3 weeks to plan. 3 weeks of watching you lie to my face, watching you manipulate my daughter, watching you convince yourself that you're the victim in this situation. I am a victim. You deceived me. I defended myself. There's a difference. Richard signs the papers with shaking hands. I suppose you think this is justice. I think this is education. You wanted to prove that anyone can be bought. Instead, you prove that anyone can be sold. What happens now? Now you learn what it's like to start over. You'll still be wealthy, Richard. You'll still have your companies, your reputation, your life. But you'll never again underestimate the people you think are beneath you. Richard looks around the penthouse one last time. Where will you go? Home. To my parents' house in Connecticut. Maya will grow up with her grandparents, get the best education, have every opportunity, and she'll learn that her worth isn't determined by what men think of her. And you? I'll run the East Coast division of Chin Industries. I'll expand our charitable work. I'll make sure Maya never has to depend on anyone for her happiness. Richard nods slowly. I suppose I deserve this. You deserved worse. But Maya doesn't deserve to see her mother destroy someone, even someone who hurt us. So you get to walk away with half your dignity intact. An hour later, Richard stands in the lobby of his former building, holding a single suitcase. His Ferrari is gone. Lisa now owns half of it. His penthouse is no longer his home. His empire is about to be divided. He thinks about Maya, sleeping peacefully in her princess bed, dreaming of having a father who would love her unconditionally. He thinks about Lisa, who outsmarted him so completely that he never saw it coming. His phone buzzes. A text from Trevor. How's married life? Ready to conquer Asia. Richard stares at the message, then deletes it without responding. The Asian expansion is over. His position as CEO is questionable. His reputation will be ruined when the divorce becomes public. He thinks about calling his lawyer, demanding a fight, refusing to accept defeat. But something stops him. Maybe it's the memory of Maya's trusting smile. Maybe it's the knowledge that Lisa was right about everything. Maybe it's the realization that he's finally met someone who played the game better than he did. The next morning, Maya wakes up in her princess bed and runs to the living room, looking for Richard. She finds Lisa sitting at the kitchen table, drinking coffee and reading financial reports. Where's Richard? Maya asks. He had to go away, sweetie. He won't be coming back. Maya's face falls. Did I do something wrong? Lisa kneels down and takes her daughter's hands. You didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes adults make promises they can't keep, but that's not your fault. I thought he was going to be my daddy. I know, baby. I'm sorry. Maya thinks about this. Are we going to stay in this big house? No, we're going to visit Grandma and Grandpa. Would you like that? Maya brightens. Can I bring my princess dress? Of course. We can bring whatever you want. As Maya runs to pack her toys, Lisa looks out at the Manhattan skyline. In a few hours, she'll own half of Richard's empire. She'll have more money than she knows what to do with, more power than she ever wanted. But she doesn't feel victorious. She feels tired, sad, and disappointed in humanity. Her phone rings. It's her mother. Lisa, darling, I saw the news. Are you all right? I'm fine, Mom. Maya and I are coming home. Good. Your father is furious. He wants to destroy that man completely. No, we've done enough damage. Let him rebuild his life. Are you sure? After what he did to you and Maya? Lisa watches Maya stuff her backpack with books and toys. I'm sure. Maya doesn't need to grow up knowing her mother destroyed someone, even someone who deserved it. You're a better person than I am, darling. I'm a mother. It's different. 6 months later, Richard sits in his smaller office at Blackwood Enterprises. He's no longer CEO. The board forced him out after the scandal broke. He's still wealthy, but half his fortune is gone. His reputation is in ruins. But he's learned something valuable. He thinks about Lisa and Maya often. He wonders if Maya still remembers him, if she asks about the man who promised to be her father. He wonders if Lisa is happy, if she's found someone who deserves her intelligence and strength. He stopped dating. He stopped making bets. He started volunteering at a local boys' club, trying to be the kind of man who builds people up instead of tearing them down. It's not enough to make up for what he did, but it's a start. His assistant knocks on his door. Mr. Blackwood, there's a package for you. Richard opens the box and finds a drawing. It's a crayon picture of 3 stick figures, a man, a woman, and a little girl. At the bottom, in careful kindergarten handwriting, it says, "Thank you for the swings. Love, Maya." Richard stares at the drawing for a long time. Then he puts it in a frame on his desk, where he can see it every day. It's a reminder of the most expensive lesson he's ever learned, that some things can't be bought, some people can't be fooled, and some mistakes can't be undone. But some hearts, even broken ones, can still find room for forgiveness, even if they never forget.